This show is presented by the 323 Network. You can watch all your favorite 323 friends and shows on the 323 Network YouTube channel, follow us on all social media platforms at 323read, and support us as we continue to grow at patreon.com/323read. That's 323REID. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 323. I am your host, Reed Murphy.
I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Look at the show. I'm the captain.
Welcome to the fucking show.
Fuck Scott.
Hello, college football fans, and welcome back to the latest installment of College Shame Day presented by the 323 Network. I am your host, Scott Ellia, and just like the likes of Sting and Beyonce, Justin Timberlake, I am going solo this evening. I am not joined by the Mac Daddy himself, Reed Murphy of the 323 Network. You know what? I'm going to plant my flag now. I am Beyonce. Stuck it, Reed. Oh, but folks, last week shaped up to be another great week in college football. Little bit of a recap before we get into the nitty-gritty. Game of the week, number 23 USC at number 13 LSU. USC comes up on top.
Now go.
Got to make sure to get myself the pause button on that one since I don't have Reed here. But yes, USC did prevail 27-20 over LSU. This now makes it 5 years in a row for the LSU Tigers not winning their season opening game, and being in a conference like the SEC. One loss is pretty much the final nail in the coffin. Hopefully Brian Kelly can right the ship down there in Louisiana. But I mean, this is just the Brian Kelly effect. He is 0-3 since joining LSU. I don't know what he's going to do. Aside from losing his mind and beating up tables, as in his post-game press conference. But a couple highlights from that game. On the offensive side of the ball, LSU quarterback Eric Nussmeier, 30 for 39, 308 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick late in the fourth quarter, which leads us into our defensive performance of the game. USC linebacker Mason Cobb with 7 total tackles, 1 interception. That was that final driving nail in the coffin for the LSU Tigers there in Las Vegas last week. And as far as the Wheel of Degenerate, I just have 3 words. Fuck you, Iowa. Now you decide to put up some points on the board. Went and dropped a 40 bomb on Illinois State last week. And that was my only miss last week, folks. For those who don't know what the hell I'm talking about, Wheel of Degenerate is our weekly Tests of the Fates. Pit every game hosting a top 25 team in a wheel, spin it 5 times, whatever it lands on. We're going to build a parlay off of that. So last week, you can only find it on the Instagram page at 323 College Shame Day. We did end up taking Illinois State plus 22.5. We missed it, unfortunately, and that was the first game on the ticket. So from then on out, I didn't care what happened. But of course, everything else hit. We took plus 37.5 points for UT Martin, plus 20.5 points for Fresno State, plus 29.5 points for New Mexico, and we took USC on the money line to upset there. I don't know what I need to do. I don't need to like talk to a priest or try to find some scumbag downtown who knows a little bit more than I do, but it just seems that we're not going to be hitting. But this is a new week. This is going to be the one that we're finally going to hit. Before we get into news for the rest of the week coming out, I know last week we did tease that me and Reed were going to give you guys our national champion picks, but because Reed's not here, I'm not doing it because I don't want him to listen to this show and listen to all the facts and the things that are coming down the pipeline to sway his decision. So we are going to push it off until whenever he decides to show up. I don't know where he is. This is one of the greatest weekends in football. We got 5 straight days. And what's right in the middle? college football, and I couldn't ask for any more. And also, still no Shameful 8. I refuse to even go and look at it. We got a couple more weeks, so look out for that here in about 2 weeks or so. But like I said, before we get into what to look out for the rest of the week, a new segment. Well, not necessarily a new segment. We did do it a couple times last year, but the reasoning behind bringing it back for this episode specifically is stemming from the Florida State Seminoles falling for 2 straight weeks. We're going to bring back a segment called ShameTalk. That's right, folks. We are going to, it's a little bit more eloquent than me just going off the cuff. So let me bring on our guest speaker now. Ladies and gentlemen, fans of Florida State football, we stand at a crossroads today, grappling with the realities that none of us envisioned. Here we are, 2 games into the 2024 season, and our beloved Seminoles are starting at an 0-2 record. For a program with such a storied past, this feels like an echo from a distant, troubling chapter. It's a stark reminder of how quickly things can change in college football. Let's rewind to 2014. It was a magical time for Florida State. The Seminoles, under the leadership of Jimbo Fisher, were at the zenith of college football. Jameis Winston, the electrifying quarterback, led us to a national championship, and the team seemed unstoppable. Jimbo Fisher was our architect, and the future looked incredibly bright. We had everything going for us, the talent, the coaching, and the unwavering support of our fan base. It was a golden era, a time when Florida State was synonymous with excellence. But as we all know, the road to success is rarely smooth. By the end of the 2017 season, cracks started to appear. Jimbo Fisher's departure to Texas A&M came as a shock. It wasn't just the abruptness of his exit, it was the feeling of betrayal, the sense that something was slipping through our fingers. Fisher left for a lucrative 10-year contract at Texas A&M, and while he sought new challenges, we were left to pick up the pieces. The aftermath of Jimbo's departure was anything but smooth. Enter Willie Taggart, a hire that initially sparked hope. Taggart came with a reputation for revitalizing programs, and we welcomed him with open arms. But the reality was far from the expectations. His tenure was short-lived, and his record of 9-12 over 2 seasons was a disappointment. It wasn't just the losses, it was the sense of regression. The buyout we had to pay was a financial strain, but the true cost was the toll it took on the program's reputation and morale. In a bid to stabilize the ship, we turned to Mike Norvell. The decision was made in the hope that Norvell could steer us back to relevance. The early years of his tenure were marked by struggle. The 2020 season saw a 3-6 record, and the following year, 2021, didn't fare much better with a 5-7 performance. It felt like we were stuck in a cycle of mediocrity, and the optimism that accompanied Norvell's hiring was starting to wane. But then, in 2022, there was a glimmer of hope. Norvell's team finished 10-3, a significant improvement and a sign that things might be turning around. The 2023 season was even better, a 13-1 record that rekindled the fire within the fanbase. It felt like Florida State football was finally back. The excitement was palpable, and for a moment, it seemed like we had recaptured the magic of those glory days. However, fast forward to the present and we find ourselves grappling with an 0-2 start in the 2024 season. It's a sobering reality check. How do we go from celebrating a remarkable season to struggling so early in the next one? It's a question that demands an answer, and it forces us to look deeper into the heart of the program. One key aspect of Norvell's strategy has been his reliance on the transfer portal. He's brought in standout players like Jermaine Johnson, Keon Coleman, Braden Fisk, and Jared Verse. These are individuals who have made a significant impact on the field and contributed to the team's success. Johnson, for example, was a game changer for us. Verse, too. Brought an added dimension to our defense. These transfers have been instrumental in improving our performance, no doubt. But let's not ignore the larger issue at hand. Relying heavily on the transfer portal presents its own set of challenges. While it provides a quick fix and an immediate talent, it doesn't always address the long-term needs of the program. Developing and nurturing talent from within has been a hallmark of Florida State's success in the past. During the Bowden era, we were known for our ability to recruit and develop players over time. We weren't just acquiring stars, we were building them. Norvell's focus on transfers has certainly brought in talent, but it raises important questions about sustainability. Can we continue to rely on the portal year after year? Or do we need a refocus on recruiting and developing homegrown talent? The transfer portal is a powerful tool, but it's not a replacement for a robust development program. It's a short-term solution that needs to be balanced with long-term strategies. Now, we're at a critical juncture. The 0-2 start to the 2024 season might be a sign that we need to reevaluate our approach. It's a moment for introspection and reassessment. Do we continue to lean heavily on transfers, hoping to find the next big talent that will turn our season around? Or do we shift our focus and give more opportunities to the players who have been with the program, who understand the culture, and who are invested in the long-term success of Florida State? The season might be shaping up to be a setback, a period of recalibration and rebuilding. It's a tough pill to swallow, especially after the high expectations that accompany the 2023 season, but setbacks can be opportunities in disguise. They force us to confront the realities of our situation and make necessary adjustments. If we're honest with ourselves, this might be a chance to lay the groundwork for a more sustainable future. The reality is that Florida State football has a legacy of resilience and excellence. We've faced challenges before and came out stronger on the other side. This season might be a defining moment, a test of our commitment to the program's future. It's a time for leadership, development, and a renewed focus on building something that lasts. So, as we navigate through this challenging period, let's hold on to the belief that Florida State football can rise again. Let's support our team, not just in moments of triumph, but through the tough times as well. Let's hope that the program can find its footing, address its challenges, and build a foundation for future success. The road ahead might be uncertain, but with determination and a clear vision, there's hope that we can once again reach the heights we've known in the past. This season may be a test, but it's also an opportunity to reaffirm our commitment to the Florida State football program and its storied legacy. I couldn't have said it better myself. So thank you. But yeah, folks, there's one key thing coming from all of this, and that is for Mike Norvell and crew to make some sort of adjustment. It's still very early on in the season. Yes, you're 0-2. Your back's up against the wall. Your chances of making a college football playoff now are dropping to damn near non-existent. But not making an adjustment at this point would be truly shameful. Oh boy. But yes, folks, going into week number 2 here in college football, a couple key performers from last week. Colorado's wide receiver Jimmy Horn Jr. lighting it up against North Dakota State with 7 receptions, 198 yards, and a touchdown. He's kind of that silent killer there in Boulder. You know, I know all the talks around Shador and the Sanders brothers and Travis Hunter, but a talent like Jimmy Horn Jr. coming on the outside, that's going to be a player to watch throughout the season. On the defensive side of the ball, UNLV's defensive back Jalen Catalan, last week going into Houston, 4 total tackles, 2 interceptions, 1 of those returned for a touchdown. Stellar performance on the defensive side of the ball. Jumping back over to the offense, wide receiver from Arizona, Tite Roa McMillan. Last week against New Mexico, 10 receptions for 304 yards, 4 touchdowns. Yes, he's playing New Mexico. Not the greatest of teams, but still, that is outstanding performance and a talent that needs to be watched closely throughout the season. Moving on, Boise State's running back Ashton Jeanty against Georgia Southern, 20 carries for 267 yards and 6 touchdowns on the ground. And the top performance of last week, and it pains me to say this, as much as I hate the program, but I do respect the player, Cam Ward. Shout out to you there in Miami, quarterback for the Hurricanes last week, going into Gainesville, just putting on a walloping of the Gators. 26 for 35 through the air for 385 yards and 5 touchdowns. He's shaping up to be everything that Mario Cristobal and company hoped that he would be, and he is going to be scary to watch, especially for my Florida State Seminoles and the rest of the ACC conference throughout the rest of the season. But looking forward, this week's game of the week, I know that College Game Day of ESPN, they'll be traveling to, I believe, the number 3 Texas Longhorns, traveling, facing off against the Michigan Wolverines in Ann Arbor. They are ranked number 10, but College Shame Day, we don't go where Cuck Herbstreit goes. We go where we want to go, and our budget's really short. So we can't travel to Michigan, but we can travel to North Carolina. So that's what we're going to do, virtually, of course. Number 14, Tennessee Volunteers traveling to Charlotte for a road game, I guess, against the number 24 North Carolina State Wolfpack. Tennessee's had a very impressive opening, and I am just going to apologize now. I'm not the best with names, and I'm probably going to butcher it, but we'll give it a try. Quarterback Nico Iyama Iamale Ava, and I know I killed it. Nico I. How about we go with that? An outstanding debut last week, throwing for 314 yards and 3 touchdowns in the first half alone for a 69-3 win over Chattanooga. Sorry, fellas. Tennessee coach Josh Heupel, he's definitely wants to keep that locker room reined in a little bit. Don't want them getting overly confident, especially with a tougher matchup against North Carolina State in the Dukes Mayo Classic this year. They're in Charlotte. As far as North Carolina State's first game, they struggled. To say the least, against Western Carolina, trailing into the fourth quarter. But thankfully, they were able to overcome adversity and win 38-21. Coach Dave Dorn there in North Carolina State noted that, nerves were probably playing into that a lot more with the team. I mean, hell, you have over 20 new players on the team, but having a scare like that should be a gut check for that locker room. But both these teams have very experienced offenses. Both Tennessee and NC State have highly experienced offensive lines. Tennessee's Cooper Mays anchoring that line, and I believe he hasn't allowed a sack. If the stat I looked at was correct, he hasn't allowed a sack in 15 straight games, and you can't ask for any much more out of an offensive lineman than being that clean. As far as Tennessee's depth, they have options for receiving there for Nico for days, including Brew McCoy, transferred in, Dante Thornton, Chris Braswell II. I'm very much intrigued to see how Tennessee's offense does play against a much more talented defense in North Carolina State. But I'm also excited to see transfer quarterback Grayson McCall there in NC State and see what he's going to be able to do, and probably one of the biggest games of his career up to now. But with these teams being so close to each other geographically, they tend to fight over recruits day in and day out, and having a game in Charlotte is going to be key for both of these teams, especially in the North Carolina and South Carolina region. North Carolina State's Casey Concepcion, he was a standout from Charlotte, and he's continuing to impress with 3 touchdowns in the season opener alone, and he's had multiple scoring catches in 6 of his last 14 games in the collegiate level. I don't think it's going to be enough. I don't think it's going to be enough to slow down the Tennessee Vols here. They are amazing coming out the gate, outscoring opponents 465 to 169 in the first quarter alone under Heupel, including the 24-0 in their opening game this week, or last week rather, sorry. But something that I'm not sorry for is the lame of the week. Guys, don't watch this game. It's going to be a nightmare. I'm sure there's a wedding going on right now on a Saturday, or some kind of baby shower, or hell, maybe your significant other wants to go to Hobby Lobby or Home Depot. Just go do anything else. Go do anything else. Do not watch the Southeast Louisiana and Southern Miss game. It's going to be a bad time. But something that's not a bad time ever is the Wheel of Degenerate, folks. That is right. It is time for the Wheel of Degenerate. Let's bring it up on the big board. There it is, folks. And for those here who are listening through whatever podcast medium you want to use, I'm not your dad. You can listen to it however you want. But if you want to see the production value on this fantastic, beautiful Wheel of Degenerate, there's only one place you can find that, and that is at the YouTube channel at 323 Network. It'll be up there in all its glory. Like I said, folks, rules of the game are simple. Spin it 5 times. Whatever it lands on, that will be the parlay that we build into for Saturday's slate of games. And like we all know, I will not give you my winners and losers right here with you tonight. The only place to find that is at the 323 College Shame Day Instagram. It will be up there before the afternoon kickoff. So if you want to ride with me and try to win, have at it. But I will warn you, it might be better for you just to keep the money. But hey, whatever. Let's give it a spin. Oh boy, folks, I am so excited because there are a ton of games coming up on this Saturday. And look who it is. Northern Illinois. That should be so exciting. So exciting. Speaking about exciting, folks, 5 days of football between Thursday night's NFL matchup of the Baltimore Ravens and the Chiefs. We got the Eagles and the Packers playing on Friday night, and then right smack down in the middle are this massive slate of games for college football. Next up on the college Shame Day Wheel Degenerate betting slip is Utah State at number 13 USC. I don't know about you folks, but I was impressed to see what Lincoln Riley and USC were able to accomplish last week. You know, they haven't had Caleb Williams, got a new quarterback there under center, but I was impressed to see what came out of him. Number 3 up on the Wheel of Degenerate. Ooh, this one could be upset alert. Upset alert there in Tulane. We got number 17 Kansas State traveling to Tulane on the road. Just to recap the 3 games, Utah at number 13 USC, Northern Illinois at 5 Notre Dame, 17 Kansas State at Tulane, and bringing it back. Oh, no. The ones who started my college season in such shambles. Number 23 Georgia Tech traveling upstate New York to go face off against Syracuse for the 4th game on the Wheel of Degenerate betting slip. And finally, the 5th and final game. Oh, this Jackson Dart and the Ole Miss Rebels have, they're going to be a team to watch in the SEC. They are looking amazing. 5th and final game is Middle Tennessee traveling to number 6 Ole Miss. Man, that is going to be a very interesting betting slip. There might be a couple sneaky upsets in there. I won't lie. Folks, but what a great weekend we have ahead of us. Like I said, college football smack dab in the middle of NFL opening weekend, and I couldn't ask for much more. But if you guys are asking for much more, I do want to thank you for tuning in to the 323 Network. We appreciate your support and passion for college football. Please stay connected with us on Instagram, Facebook at 323 College Shame Day, or at 323 Read. Go check it out. We had a really great episode kicking off the NFL season. Some very hot and spicy hot takes from both Reed and I. Also check us out on the YouTube channel at the 323 Network. Don't forget to subscribe, click that bell, catch our latest episodes wherever podcasts can be found. But until next time, embrace the shame and keep it rolling with the 323 Network. See you later.